So yeah, that's what he's saying there. Let's keep going.
Rasulullah said, don't greet the Jews and the Christians before they greet you, and when you meet any of them on the roads, force them to go on the narrow side of it.
You hear that? So that's the first point I want to pause at. Their hadiths, their authentic hadiths, say that if you're in a society which Islam is ruling, in other words, an Islamic state, and a Jew or a Christian is coming towards you, and you're a Muslim, you're supposed to apparently force them to the bad side of the road. Like, listen again, look.
And when you meet any of them on the roads, force them to go on the narrow side of it.
You see? So in other words, into the gutter, into the part where the cars are pretty much driving. Like right there, where all the dirt goes. That's where they want to force people, to the narrow part of it. And like, really? That's apparently what God wants? No, God doesn't want that. God wants us to love everybody. He wants us to be kind. He wants us to be peaceful. He wants us to pray for those who persecute us and spitefully try to use us. He wants us to tell the truth at all times, not deceive. If I see a Muslim in the street, I don't do that to them. So why are they being instructed to do that to us?
And Imam Malik, he said the same thing as well. In fact, Umar ibn Khattab, who Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said that if there was to be another Nabi after me, it would be Umar ibn Khattab in his own charter, not charter of United Nations, in his charter with the people of Sham, with those Christians of Sham, in his charter was Kafir and Muslim, they're not allowed to wear the same clothes as one another.
When they say that word Kafir, what they're talking about are non-Muslims, but it's a very derogatory way of referring to non-Muslims, okay? In their societies, it's used to insult non-Muslims. So whenever you hear that term, Kafir, they're insulting non-Muslims.
Sham, in his charter was Kafir and Muslim, they're not allowed to wear the same clothes as one another. If the Muslim, he comes out on the day of Eid and he sees Kafir with nice clothes, the Kafir has to take his clothes off and give it to the Muslims. The Kafir, when he walks inside the street, he has to wear a red belt around his neck and he has to have his forehead shaved.
Are you hearing this absolute insanity? Does this remind you of any society that recently existed in history that caused a huge war and made people wear identifiable things in society if they was not one of them? Very interesting, right? Yet these people are in Britain saying these things openly, discriminating against the majority of the population.
If the Muslim, he comes out on the day of Eid and he sees Kafir with nice clothes, the Kafir has to take his clothes off and give it to the Muslims. The Kafir, when he walks inside the street, he has to wear a red belt around his neck and he has to have his forehead shaved and he has to wear two shoes which are different from one another.
So in other words, they want to humiliate non-Muslims who are living under Islamic law. And why do you think they want to do this? He's going to admit in a moment, but why do you think they want to do this? Why would they want to humiliate non-Muslims? Well, it's obviously to make people be more inclined to become a Muslim. Why would somebody want to live in a society where they are treated pretty much as a laughingstock and are humiliated and bullied and have to pay taxes that are higher than the other people? You know, most people fold in those situations and they don't stand on their morals and they would say, no, they're just going to be a